My dad called my 38M digital marketing biz a fake job. What happened next will shock you. It all started one fateful Sunday, with a conversation that would turn the world upside down. The sun streamed through the kitchen window, revealing the crumpled mail on the table, unread bills looming like ghosts. My dad, standing there in his faded flannel, squinted at the pile of documents like they confessed some terrible secret. The words he uttered sliced through the air like a knife. "This is a fake job." Those words didn't just hang, they slammed against the walls, echoing into the corners of my heart. Just to give you a sense of where this all began, I had built my digital marketing business from scratch. A small idea that exploded into a 38 million success, with clients ranging from local mom-and-pop shops to big-name brands. I often worked late into the night, nurturing my baby on the glow of my computer screen, fueled by cold coffee and adrenaline. Yet, here was my father, a man who still didn't quite believe that the internet was more than a series of tubes, branding my hard work as something or other not real. Confusion draped over me as heavy as a winter coat. How could he not see the long hours? The countless meetings? The sacrifice? I could feel my heart racing, fighting against my tight chest as I tried to explain. "But Dad, I've built something. I've done something." His eyes rolled, like he couldn't even bear to look at me. I was crushed. The tension twisted in the air like a tightrope, and everyone else around us seemed frozen, witnessing this strange, intimate battle. I glanced at my mom, who looked like she had just swallowed a lemon. Then came the storm, and it wasn't just a burst of anger. No, it was an admission of pain. "You're wasting your life." That screamed louder than any punch ever could, shaking the floor beneath us. It was not mere disagreement. It cut deeper, nudging at the underbelly of who I thought I had become. Suddenly, my little office, filled with dreams and hopes, felt more like a cell. I never felt so angry, so misunderstood, so far from the boy he thought I was. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. That comment hung in the air long after the words fell silent. Suddenly, my phone buzzed on the table, an unexpected alert. New email. My heart raced again, but not from dread. What if this was the breakthrough I'd been waiting for? I opened it quickly, my mind still replaying the words of defeat. The screen lit up with an unexpected message, something about an opportunity that could redefine everything I thought I knew. But before I could process it, my dad's stern voice cut through again. "You're chasing a fantasy." He didn't even realize how close he was to the truth. Because in the world I lived in, fantasy didn't exist. It was grit, pain, success, and all the strange, twisted roads leading to something I still couldn't quite grasp. And just as I was about to respond, a loud crash echoed from the living room, a shattering sound. Something smashed what was happening. The air thickened, and all I could think was, had I really built my life on a dream? Or was something darker at play here, something that would reshape everything I thought I understood about my father, my business, and ultimately myself? The sound of shattering glass ripped through the tension like a lightning bolt. My heart thundered in my chest, and my breath caught as I instinctively turned toward the living room. Adrenaline surged through my veins, transforming the confusion into a fierce urgency. I took a step forward, half expecting to find the worst. "Dad!" I shouted, urgency leaking into my voice. He just stood frozen, still staring at me like I had unleashed a storm. The weight of his disbelief hung between us, thick and heavy. With shaking hands, I reached for the door frame, my pulse racing in sync with the dread gathering in my gut. What could have possibly happened? I pushed through the doorway into the living room, and for a moment, I was thrown back in time. Memories pulled at me, conjuring images of family gatherings and comfortable familiarity, but none of that was here now. The sleek glass coffee table lay shattered on the floor, fragments sparkling like forgotten hopes scattered in chaos. My mom was crouched beside it, wide-eyed and pale as she brushed shards away. "What happened? Are you okay?" I asked, rushing to her side. "I bumped into it," she stuttered, her voice shaking like her hands. I reached down, pulling her to her feet, but my gaze shifted to something else. On the far wall, the framed photo of me at my first business launch now had a deep crack running through its glass, a picture of my past shattered and broken, just like the table. I swallowed hard, feeling the gravity of the moment creep into my bones. Was this all some kind of sign? Had my life been as fragile as the glass before me? "See what you've built?" My dad's voice was like a blade cutting through the air. It all could come crashing down in an instant. His words slammed into me, more painful than any accident. "What are you talking about? This business is successful." I shot back, anger weaving through my panic. "And what if it isn't?" He shot back, his eyes narrowing. "What if it's all just a band-aid on a deeper wound?" I opened my mouth, an argument forming on my lips, but deep down, a tiny seed of doubt took root. I couldn't shake the feeling that everything was unraveling beneath my feet. Just then, my phone buzzed again, breaking the tension. Another email. I glanced down, hoping for that breakthrough, yet all I found was a notification from one of my largest accounts. Something felt off. There was a tone to the message that sent ice down my spine. As I read, my blood turned cold. The company was pulling its ad spend, effective immediately. My stomach dropped. It felt as if the floor had vanished entirely. The choice was out of my hands, a sudden collapse looming over me. "You see?" My dad spat, a dark satisfaction flickering in his eyes. "Told you, this is no reality. Only fabrications." But what he didn't understand was that these were real clients, real dreams, real money that I fought so hard to keep. As panic surged again, I wondered, was this merely a blip, or was it the beginning of something larger, more sinister? I turned back to the computer, adrenaline coursing through me. There had to be something I could do. I was on the brink, I could feel it in my bones. Then came another buzz, this one a text from my business partner. "We need to talk. It's urgent." My breath faltered. What more could there be? Standing there, amid the shards of glass and chaos, I realized that everything I had built was now more uncertain than ever. With each moment, the weight of my dreams rested heavier on my shoulders. But little did I know that this was only the beginning. What awaited around the corner would change everything I thought I knew about my business, my family, and myself. What would I uncover next? The room spun. My father's harsh words echoed in my mind, each syllable digging deeper. The confidence I had built over the past few years felt like it was slowly deflating, and I couldn't afford to let that happen. My gaze shot back to my screen. A wave of desperation surged through me. I had to act fast, but as I stared at the fractured light shining through the shattered glass, I felt hollow. The email from my largest client turned to a blur, the letters twisting and melding into a single anxious thought. Was everything I'd worked for really hanging by a thread? "Are you serious?" I muttered under my breath, feeling the weight of impending disaster crush my lungs. The thought of betrayal from a key account only stoked the flames of my anxiety. "What's wrong?" my mom asked, her voice still quivering. "A huge account just left us," I replied, trying to mask the panic. "Then we need to fix it," she said, her pale face now tinged with a red flush of concern. "Call them, plead your case. You can't let this be the end." I shook my head, the gloom settling heavier. "It's not that simple, Mom. They're pulling their spend, not just cutting back. We're being pushed aside." On instinct, I turned back to my phone, fingers trembling as I typed a reply to my business partner. Quickly, I scrolled through social media, searching for signs, anything that indicated why such a drastic measure would come so suddenly. The news was bleak, alluding to market shifts and economic worries, but nothing concrete. Then another text buzzed on my phone. It was from another client, one who had not been so vocal until now. "Just wanted to let you know we're reviewing our budget for Q3. Don't want to lose touch." A lump formed in my throat, and I suddenly felt nauseous. The dominoes were falling, and I was losing control. I closed my eyes, trying to piece together a plan, hoping the chaos would subside, but the images of disappointment from my dad lingered. What if he was right about my whole business being just fake? A creak broke the silence, and I turned to see my dad approaching. "You need to wake up," he said, his voice steady and firm, almost like an anchor amidst the storm. "This isn't a game. Your life, your business. You can't afford to ignore reality forever." There was a spark of defiance burning within me. "Maybe I have to fight for it, Dad. It's not a fake job to me." "Then let us see you do something about it," he replied, a challenge lingering in his tone. As he turned away, my phone buzzed again, this time with a call from a number I didn't recognize. Heart racing, I answered. "Hello? Is this Alex Walker?" A smooth voice came through the line, smooth yet shrouded in mystery. "Yes, who is this?" I asked, mind racing with possibilities. "I have information you're going to want. About your client." My heart sank as I registered the weight in those words. "What do you mean?" "Meet me at Café Noir and bring something important. Something you've built." "Wait, how do you know about?" But the call ended. I was left holding my phone, pulse pounding, cold sweat forming on my brow. The implications of that conversation settled heavily over me. Was this truly a lifeline, or was it another trap waiting in the shadows? As I stared down at the shards of glass, I couldn't help but feel that the storm was just beginning. What awaited me at that cafe could change everything yet again, or shatter it completely. The neon lights flickered outside, casting an eerie glow through the window. I felt a knot twist deeper in my gut. The cafe loomed ahead like a dark mouth ready to swallow me whole. I parked my car, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last as I stepped out onto the wet pavement. Café Noir had an unsettling charm, dimly lit, corners shrouded in shadows, the air thick with the bitter scent of coffee. I pushed the door open, the bell jingling a nervous greeting. My eyes scanned the room. My heart quickened when I spotted him. A man sat alone at a corner table, pen in hand, scribbling furiously in a notebook. His deep-set eyes darted up as I approached, a sly grin curling across his lips as if he had anticipated my arrival. Something about him felt off. "Alex Walker?" he asked, his voice smooth as silk but edged with something sharper. I nodded, my throat dry. "Good. You came." He gestured to the seat across from him. "You brought what I asked for?" Reluctantly, I placed my laptop on the table. The weight of it felt like a burden, a piece of my very being exposed. "What do you know about my client?" I demanded, trying to mask the tremor in my hands. He leaned in, his expression shifting from playful to serious. "You're in trouble, kid. They're not the only ones considering pulling the plug." The words hit like a slap to the face, focusing my mind on the real danger at hand. "Why are you telling me this?" I questioned, searching for any trace of sincerity in his sharp gaze. "Because I know what they're about to do. And if you don't act fast, you'll be left with nothing," he replied, his tone lowering as if we were sharing a secret. "I also know the risk you're facing. Your entire business is on the line." The pieces were coming together, but I felt more lost than ever. "What do you want in return?" "All I need is a slice of the action. Help me set up a meeting with your client. They trust you, and you're the key to getting in." "I'll do my part, but I want in." My stomach churned at the thought of aligning myself with this man. Could I truly gamble my hard-earned business on a stranger? But then images of disappointment flashed in my mind, the haunting disappointment in my father's eyes, the faces of my loyal employees, the potential collapse of everything I'd built. "I need time to think," I warned, shaking my head. "This all feels dangerous." He chuckled lightly, leaning back. "Everything worth having comes with risk, Alex. You'll need to decide soon." Tick-tock. And just like that, he dropped a small, folded piece of paper on the table. "Your first move is written down. Use it wisely." I reached for it, fingers trembling. Before I could say another word, he stood, throwing a few bills onto the table. "Don't keep me waiting." He walked out, leaving a sense of impending doom clinging to me. I unfolded the note. My pulse quickened as I scanned the lines, a rush of dread and hope crashing against one another. It was a name, a location, and a time and opportunity wrapped in danger. My mind raced with thoughts of what would happen if I took the leap and what might come of it if I didn't. I shoved the note back into my pocket, heart pounding as the cafe door swung shut. Outside, The storm raged on, the sky darkening. Was I ready for what came next? Taking a deep breath, I braced myself for the storm, knowing it wouldn't just be business as usual anymore. As I stepped back onto the slick street, another message chimed on my phone. Just checking in. Are you okay? It was from my mom, and that single text sent another wave of panic washing over me. What if I couldn't come through? What if I lost everything? Above all, what if my next move would change everything forever? The rain fell heavier now, soaking the asphalt and turning the world into a blur of neon reflections. I could barely see as I rushed back to my car, my mind racing, heart thundering. The note felt like a lead weight in my pocket, pulling me down into uncertainty. I climbed into the driver's seat, hands shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. What kind of mess had I stumbled into? The man's words echoed, each syllable drenched in foreboding. Tick-tock. The clock was running down on my choices. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my thoughts. I needed to figure out my next step, but fear clawed at my insides, gnawing away at my resolve. Should I meet this mystery man's demands? Risk my entire future for a chance at salvation? Just the thought made my stomach churn. With trembling fingers, I pulled out my phone and stared at my mom's text. Her concern was palpable, but how could I explain what was happening? I typed a quick response, assuring her I was fine, before shutting the screen off. Then I remembered my phone's calendar. I had the meeting with my client scheduled just a few days away. Could I really involve this man, take his lead? A rushed glance at the note burned the name into my mind. I'd heard whispers about him before, just rumors of shady dealings that made people turn away. But I needed more information. I fished out my laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard as I pulled up any details I could find about the name. My heart sank lower with each line I read. His reputation was a mosaic of scandals, half-truths, and relentless ambition. He preyed on the desperate, drawing them into his schemes just like he was trying to do with me. A loud bang outside jerked me from my thoughts. I flinched, heart racing. I peered out through the rain-streaked window, but everything appeared normal, cars rushing past, oblivious to my turmoil. My mind spun as I pictured my client, their trust in me delicate as spun glass. I couldn't let my doubts unravel everything I'd spent years building. But if I didn't act, would I be dooming myself instead? As resolve settled over me, I grabbed the note again. The location was closer than I realized. If I hurried, I might make it there in time to scope it out and see who else was involved. My gut screamed at me, reminding me of the dangers lurking in shadows I hadn't even begun to understand. But I had no more time to waste. This was my chance to control the narrative or risk being swept away. I revved the engine, tires splashing into the rain-puddled street as I sped away from the cafe. Every turn felt risky. Adrenaline surged, flooding my veins with urgency, each decision hanging by a thread. Streets blurred by as I focused intently on where I was headed, nerves fraying with each passing moment. Finally, I approached the location, a run-down office building at the edge of town. It stood like a decaying fortress, lights flickering weakly, quivering in resistance against the storm. As I parked and stepped out into the cold, a flash of movement caught my eye. A figure emerged from the shadows, retreating into the neon haze, but not before our eyes locked for just a heartbeat. My blood froze. Was this connected to the man from the cafe? I hesitated, caught between the need to follow and the dread curling within me. I took a step back. This was it. The moment of reckoning was upon me. But before I could decide my next move, a sharp voice called from behind me. Hey, what are you doing here? The question echoed in the damp air as I whirled around. My heart stopped. What now? Was it too late to turn back? Or had I walked right into a trap? The voice belonged to a tall man, his silhouette framed by the weak glow of the building's flickering lights. His stance was rigid, arms crossed, a scowl carved into his features. I couldn't see his eyes in the dark, but I felt his scrutiny cutting through the rain-soaked air. Who are you? I stammered, my voice barely masking the tremor of fear. He stepped closer, boots splashing in puddles, the sound echoing ominously around us. My gut twisted tighter. I wanted to bolt back to my car, but something held me there, curiosity mixed with dread. Just someone who knows a lot about bad decisions, he replied, a wry smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Bad decisions? The stranger leaned forward, an electric pulse of danger radiating off him. You've got that note, right? You think it's a lifeline? More like a noose. Confusion washed over me. The way he spoke, like he already knew my story, made my skin crawl. What do you know about it? More than you'd believe, he replied. But first, you need to understand what you're dealing with. I glanced back at the building, the shadows whispering secrets. Was this man more than he appeared? And what's that? People don't just give out notes like that unless they want something. He paused, as if weighing my reaction. Something bad. You've been marked. Marked? The word sent a chill down my spine. My pulse quickened, and suddenly I wondered how deep this rabbit hole went. I didn't understand where I had strayed so far from the life I knew. What do you mean marked? There's a game being played, and you've walked into the center of it, he explained, his expression darkening. You either get involved or you run. But running only goes so far. They'll find you. 1,000 thoughts raced through my head. Was I really a target? My hands trembled as I fingered the note in my pocket. Who was I up against? Why should I trust you? I snapped, desperation pushing me to fight back against the fear. His laugh was short, brittle. Trust is for the naive. But listen, you have a choice to make. Either you walk away right now, or you get in deeper with him. He jabbed a thumb over his shoulder, toward the building that seemed to swallow all light. I felt my throat tighten. The weight of the moment bore down on me. Inside that building? Was it the man from the cafe waiting for me? Or worse, a trap laid by someone even more dangerous? What if I choose to walk away? The man's face softened only slightly, every line etched with the harsh truths of a life lived in the dark. Then be prepared for the consequences. This isn't just a game for you. It's survival. Suddenly, the ground seemed to shift beneath me. I could either fade back into oblivion, my old life, or step into the uncertain dream that shimmered through that door. Both options felt like a leap into darkness. Time's ticking, he added, his words like a drumbeat against my chest. You won't have long to decide. With a pounding heart, I tasted urgency in the air and saw the glint of desperation in this stranger's eyes. But just as I reached for a decision, the building creaked and a door swung open, revealing a wave of laughter that sent a shiver racing down my spine. Are you in or out? He pressed, breaking my trance. In or out? The choice hung heavy, and I felt every heartbeat roaring like a train barreling down the tracks. But as I opened my mouth to respond, a sudden crash echoed behind me. The rain pounded harder, drowning out everything, but I stood frozen. Was it the wind, or footsteps approaching? But when I turned, the shadows were alive, and what I found in the gloom sent every instinct screaming to run. What was waiting for me on the other side of that door? The door flung wide, and the laughter of the unseen crowd tumbled out like a wave crashing against the shore. They were exhilarated, consumed by a euphoria that felt alien and wrong. I squinted into the darkness, forcing my brain to cut through the haze of confusion. Had I just imagined that laughter? My heart raced as shadows moved in the corners of my vision. You're not alone, the man barked, suddenly taking a step back, his arms broadening as if to shield me from the unknown. You've stumbled into something that will swallow you whole if you let it. I swallowed hard, feeling like a deer caught in headlights. What do you mean? My voice had dropped to a whisper, almost lost in the raucous noise. He leaned closer, urgency swirling in his eyes. I mean, you're on the edge of something dangerous. You've got to choose, and you better choose fast. I glanced toward the door again. The laughter grew louder, distinctly cheerier, as though mocking me, and the sound grated against my instincts. What was waiting inside that building? I could feel the gravity of its presence, a magnetic pull that drew me in, yet it churned my stomach with fear. Listen, this is bigger than you. Bigger than any of us. You've got a choice of fight or flight, he pressed, his gray eyes flashing. But once you step through that threshold... Yeah, I get it, I cut in. You're saying I can't go back. Exactly, he said, his lips barely parting, revealing the tension behind his words. You become a player in their game. I stared at him, recognizing the truth in his gaze. This was no casual decision. I was entwined in a web of dark intentions, and I could sense it. Was this really my life? The mundane had slipped away, and I could feel a growing pulse of excitement and terror locking me down to this moment. Before I could respond, the laughter dissipated. The air shifted, almost electric, sending ripples across my skin. A figure emerged from the darkness, behind the door a man dressed in a tailored suit that glimmered even under the flickering lights, making it hard to decipher his true intentions. "Ah, there you are," he said smoothly, extending a hand toward me. His smile was polished and disarming, but something about it felt wrong, like a moth drawn to a flame. "I've been waiting for you." Panic surged, surging like fire through my veins. The man in front of me stated straightforwardly, "Choose your allies wisely. You'll need them." Was he a friend? Or the enemy? I don't know," I confessed, my voice trembling as I looked from the stranger beside me to the man at the door. "I don't know who you are. Neither do you know how deep the rabbit hole goes." The stranger's voice turned gravelly. "They're already watching you." In that moment, a shift occurred just outside where I stood. Strong, malevolent waves of energy surged through the air, rumbling like distant thunder. Shadows danced around me, vibrating with warnings my mind couldn't completely grasp. And then there came a sharp crack gunfire, echoing like the last whisper of a dying light. My heart dropped, and the world narrowed around the sound, focusing it all right back to the decision wedged in my gut. "Get inside," the tall man shouted, urgency slicing through the thick tension. He grabbed my arm, adrenaline propelling me forward. Familiar laughter twisted into screams, and the tension rose to an unbearable climax. Did I dare step into that unknown? Did I have any choice? But as I stumbled toward the door, the figure inside shifted, pulled something from his jacket, and pointed it in my direction. Everything went black. What had I just stepped into? Light returned, a harsh glare piercing through the darkness. I found myself on the cold floor, heart hammering in my chest, breathless and disoriented. "Wake up!" a voice barked. The man in the tailored suit stood above me, his expression twisted in irritation, the gun still in his hand, but lowered now. No longer aimed at me, yet the threat lingered like a tightening noose. "What the hell was that?" I gasped, scrambling to sit up. The strange man towered over me, a puppeteer in a macabre play, and I was the unwitting marionette. "You don't belong here," he said, his voice smooth, but tinged with something darker, like the sour undertone of spoiled fruit. "But you're here now, so you might as well enjoy the show." "Enjoy?" I shot back, wiping the sweat from my brow. "You just shot at me." "Just a warning," he shrugged, stepping back slightly. "The last kid who stepped where you are now didn't get the same courtesy." The air around me felt charged, like static before a storm. I could still hear mocking laughter, ringing in my ears, mingling with the distant echoes of chaos. The man beside me, the one who had tried to guide me, looked conflicted. "We have to go," he said quickly, his voice a crackle of urgency. "Time is running out." "Go? Go where?" I shot back, still reeling from the confrontation. "To the others," he said, casting a glance at the suited man. "You don't understand what's happening. We're in a danger zone, and every movement counts." My skin crawled. "What are you talking about?" The man in the suit leaned closer, his smile returning, though it twisted like a knife. "You wanted excitement, didn't you? A life filled with thrills? Welcome to your nightmare." "Enough," the other man growled. "You've got to move now. Don't let him toy with you." I glanced around, still disoriented, my instincts screaming at me. The atmosphere was electric, filled with a tension so thick I could almost taste it. Doors lined the walls, each one pulsing with a low hum, but I had no clue which way to go. "Trust me," the man in gray pleaded, urgency flaring in his eyes. "I can help you navigate this. But we have to act now." Suddenly, the sound of laughter grew more intense, more sinister, as if echoing through a warped funhouse. I turned back to the suited man, who remained still, watching me with the unwavering calm of a snake poised to strike. "What is your game?" I demanded, my voice stronger this time. He simply raised an eyebrow. "It's not about me, dear. It's about you. Do you have what it takes to play?" A loud bang resonated from down the hall, and my heart leapt. "This isn't a game," I yelled, panic creeping back in. "Indeed, it's not." The man in the suit grinned wider, his teeth flashing in the dim light. But it can be a thrilling experience. My insides churned, the fear vying with an unsettling thrill that inexplicably drew me closer to this world. Was he right? Could I handle whatever lay ahead? We need to move, stop debating. The gray-eyed stranger shouted as another echo reverberated through the air, sharper this time, followed by gasps. Then, a loud crash shattered the moment carnage suddenly erupted just beyond the next door. Shouts erupted. Fear seized me, and my mind spun. Choose. The gray-eyed man urged, pulling me toward another door. We can't waste time. But even as I began to move, part of me grasped the weight of the decision. What would I face if I stepped through? What allies awaited or enemies? I made my choice on instinct, fear, and a spark of reckless curiosity. And as that door creaked open, shadows intertwined with light, revealing what lay beyond. Would it be my salvation or my doom? I stepped through the door, adrenaline coursing through my veins as the scene unfolded. It was a dimly lit room, filled with flickering lights that struggled against the encroaching darkness. Tables were strewn with strange devices and monitors, their screens displaying garbled images and static, as if the universe itself was glitching in and out of reality. On the far wall, a massive digital clock ticked ominously, each second a countdown to something unknown. The air was heavy with a smell like burnt rubber, and something stirred at the corners of my vision. I squinted, trying to adjust, trying to fight the dread that gripped me tighter with each breath. Stay close to me, the man in gray shouted over the chaos, but my feet were rooted in place. I didn't want to move deeper into this nightmare, yet the laughter from behind me, that mocking, sinister sound pushed me forward. As I followed him, shadows darted across the walls, collective gasps echoed past the threshold I'd just entered. I felt trapped, like a pawn on an unforgiving chessboard where every piece could turn against me. What is all this? I managed to ask, my voice wavering as I took in the cables snaking like serpents across the floor, leading to bizarre contraptions that buzzed and hummed. It's where the game is played, he said, glancing back nervously, his gray eyes narrowed. This is the control room. You want to fully grasp it until it's too late. Until what's too late? My heart raced, each beat a drum echoing warning in my ears. Suddenly, a loud crash rattled the room. It was followed by a scream so raw and fearful that my skin prickled. I turned toward the noise, catching a glimpse of a group of figures scrambling through another door, their faces streaked with horror. They were panicked, desperate, their breaths heavy with dread. Over here, one of them shouted, waving frantically. We can't let them get us. My instincts screamed at me to run, to follow them. Yet, a part of me hesitated, torn between the raw fear of stepping into a greater unknown and the urgency of survival. What is happening out there? I shouted over the din, but the man in gray only shook his head, closing the space between us. More of them, he whispered, breathless. We have to decide quickly. As I hesitated, the suited man appeared in the doorway we had just come through, his expression predatory. The chaos seemed to amplify around him, a strange energy pulling me in both directions, toward the only potential escape and deeper into a sickening game. Come join the fun, he called, voice dripping with malice, beckoning me forward with a slow, deliberate motion of his hand. Never had desperation felt so suffocating. The weight of decisions clawed at my mind. Every instinct told me to flee, but a darker curiosity edged me on. Each doorway, each choice seemed like an invitation to open Pandora's box. Choose. The gray-eyed man yelled again, urgency building in his voice. This way to safety. Or that way, to whatever hell he's controlling. Time felt like it was running out, the tension crackling like electricity. No more running, I screamed, shaking my head to clear my thoughts. I refuse to be a pawn. Be careful what you wish for, the suited man warned, and I could see delight dancing in his eyes. With a surge of determination, I bolted toward the terrified group. Whatever lay behind me, the suited man's smile widened, hinting at a twisted game I was just beginning to understand. Now, everything hinged on my next move. What waited for us outside? Friends or foes? In this blurred world of deception, one thing remained certain. I had to fight for clarity, for survival. Could I outmaneuver the dance of chaos, or would I become another pawn lost in the game? The chaos barreled around Alex like a freight train as he rushed toward the group. Voices clamored for direction, nervous breaths mingling with rising panic and dread. The room hummed with static that felt alive, tingling like a current just beneath Alex's skin. His instincts kicked into high gear. He had to save himself and everyone else. Quick! Over here! One of the terrified figures yelled, eyes wide with fear. Alex stumbled forward, catching glimpses of their faces illuminated by flickering lights. They were real, flesh and blood, just like him. Not just part of some twisted game. Suddenly, the suited man's laughter echoed, sharp and taunting from behind. You think you can escape? You're mine now, Alex. The very sound sent a chill down his spine, igniting a fire of adrenaline in his core. He refused to play the pawn anymore. Move, move, he urged, shoving forward, the press of bodies propelling them deeper. They rushed toward a heavy door at the far end, adrenaline fueling every step. He could almost hear the tick-tock of the countdown from behind him, feel the pressure building. Time was running out. A crash followed, as if something had fallen, louder and more threatening. Keep going, Alex yelled, pushing harder against the others, but the door was stuck. Frustration clawed his insides. We can't be trapped here. As he gripped the handle and pulled with all his strength, hands joined in synchronization. They heaved as one, and finally clicked. The door creaked open. They stumbled through, a jumbled mass of limbs and scared hearts, but outside wasn't an open field. Instead, they found themselves in a narrow corridor lit by buzzing fluorescent lights. The air grew thick with tension, the walls felt eerily close. They moved as one, not daring to linger on the sinister whispers that seemed to chase them. What do we do now? A voice quivered behind him. It was a girl, her eyes starting. Stay together, Alex urged, sensing the urgency bleeding through the shock. We need to map out a way out. Just then, a deep voice pierced the silence from behind, heavy with malice. You can't escape, you know. The game has already begun. The suited man emerged like a phantom, a smirk on his lips, eyes gleaming with dark amusement. The flickering lights cast ominous shadows across his suit, his presence spilling tension into the room. You chose the wrong path, Alex. Think of all you'll miss. His breath caught. It wasn't just threats, it was a challenge. This was a war for survival now. An oppressive feeling settled over him, but anger surged within him, blazing brighter than fear. No, you think you can control me? You're wrong, Alex shouted, feeling emboldened by his resolve. He turned to the frightened group. Stick with me. We're stronger together. Alex, the gray-eyed man hissed, pulling him aside. We need a plan. The others are scattering. If we don't move now, let them scatter, they're scared. Alex shot back, his voice rising above the chaos. If they don't run toward something, we all become prisoners here. Then a realization crystallized. He wasn't just facing a rival, he was battling perceptions, doubts, dismantling a broken image. Together, he repeated, his voice hauling confidence. We fight back. The suited man narrowed his eyes, lips twisting into a scowl as murmurs filled the hallway. Just remember, the game isn't forgiving. You'll either win big or lose everything. No more games. Alex bellowed, seizing control of his own narrative. He signaled to the others, instincts flaring. We need to find a way out, a way they can't trap us. The team surged forward, a pooling of strength. There was power in the collective heartbeat of hopeful defiance. They pounded down corridors, the lights flickering erratically as laughter echoed behind them, bittersweet and taunting. And then, in the distance, a door labeled exit glowed like promise against the darkness. Run! Alex barked, his heart hammering against his ribs. As feet pounded against the cement floors, reality blurred with adrenaline. The exit felt like freedom, but would it be? They neared it, breath ragged, hope crashing against doubt. With one last push, Alex reached for the handle, adrenaline surging through him, wrapping his fingers around the metal. Time blurred into slow motion. The moment stretched a breathless heartbeat. All he wanted was the chance to burst free. It could all end here, he thought. Then, with a surge of determination, he twisted the handle and yanked it open. Bright light spilled into the corridor, flooding their path. The world opened up, fresh and breathing. Outside, under a sky trembling with possibility, he stepped forward, followed by the others. They emerged into the light, not just from a building of secrets and lies, but into a life reclaimed. A new beginning blazed before them. "Thank you," the gray-eyed man whispered, steadying himself, eyeing the others in relief. "We did it," someone exclaimed, a cheer bubbling amid the fears that had chained them. But Alex's heart remained heavy, belief igniting within him. He knew challenges awaited beyond. I would have to rebuild, to redefine that faith in himself and his business. Tears pricked his eyes, but they were not of surrender. They were of strength, of the thorned path walked. But now he was ready. With a fierce spark ignited in his chest, he surged forward, determined to prove to everyone, even to his father, that rele dreams were worth fighting for. As the sunlight poured over them, Alex called out, "This is just the beginning. We fight for what we believe in." Laughter, relief, and screams of joy filled the air, wrapping around him like a warm blanket. Behind him, a new world awaited. Not just a battle won, but a profound transformation. And just like that, he had emerged from the shadows. Now it was time for him to build again. Hey, before you go, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. And make sure you smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Oh, and flood the comments section with your reactions, theories, and feelings about this ending. I can't wait to hear from all of you. Lastly, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us keep the stories alive.